Okay, great. I can see that John has started the recording. So great. We'll start with the brand one first. I just wanted to give you a bit of a background as to why we are doing this brand launch, why we are doing the launch of our new website. What's the story behind this? What's the background to this? You may know that last year in April, the board of ROCS actually worked to develop a new strategic plan for the next 3 years. And as part of that new strategic plan, we came up with four pillars of that strategy for the organization. The first one of those is organizational renewal. The second one of those is financial sustainability, and then communication and engagement, and the last one is operational excellence. So it is in that regard that when we are rebranding or we are improving our brand, it actually relates to the communication, which is the third element of the strategic plan. But it actually also touches upon the other elements, which is organizational renewal. For example, when we are renewing our website or we are renewing our brand, actually touches on the organizational renewal, also on the financial sustainability, because we believe that once our brand is more organized, once our website is more organized, the donor experience is great and all that, that will actually also assist with the financial sustainability, but also with the operational excellence, which is the last pillar of a new strategic plan. So that's the background to it as to why we're now doing a refresh of our brand, but also launching a new website as well. Um, so first thing first, I just wanted to run a very quick exercise with you before I start speaking on in relation to our brand. I'll share my screen and okay, here. Can you see my screen now? No, you can't. Okay. How about now? Great. Okay. I just wanted to do this quick exercise with you and ask you as to what do you think you're seeing on the screen? What brand is this? Which company? What company do you see? I mean, there's no mention of a name, but it'd be good to kind of like get an idea if you actually recognize this particular brand. And if you do, please type away your answers into the chat. I'll give you a few seconds to have a look at this brand, the black and yellow one. How about this second one? Do you understand and recognize this brand? Right? Please type away your answers into the chat button. How about this third one? Do you recognize this? I've actually on purpose removed logos so that I don't give that away. And then how about this last one? Again, no mention of the name of the brand. Yeah? Okay. Now let me stop this and go to see if you actually have answered and you have recognized. Great. There we go. Ooh, so many people. My goodness. You recognize that the first one is Combank, CBA. The second one, yeah, you understand, is Woolies, Woolworths, ANZ. Yeah, fantastic. Bunnings. There you go. I did not even show you the logos of these organizations, right? But you still recognize these brands. And the reason for that is that these organizations have consistently put their brand in a very structured way before our eyes. In the case of Woolies, you did not even see the brand name or anything, but you saw a tagline. The tagline is so popular that you can actually recognize the brand by that tagline. In the last one, you just saw how they present themselves, and you could recognize us from that. So that's the success of a brand when they are able to actually, when people are able to actually recognize those brands without you looking at their logo or anything else. There are also times when you can recognize a brand by just listening to the music they play or the type of tone they play. because brands are also associated with not only language, not only colors, not only logo, but also with the type of language that they use, but also the type of music that they play in the background. So with that, now let's launch our actual presentation about our brand. I'll open my brand book here. Just give me a second while it opens. Here we go. And now I'll share the screen with you. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. So what you see on your screen is this new refreshed brand of RAWCS that we have developed in the form of a book, which is about 100 pages long. Don't be scared away by the fact that this is quite a long document. It actually provides lots of details, so hopefully it will be actually helpful in the sense that that you'll be making use of different parts of this. So as you can see, there are so many different parts of this, and we'll go through them quickly one by one. And as I said, the promise of today is that we'll cover both this brand a book launch and also the website both in the same webinar. So that way, then we do not need to have that other webinar which we have planned for next week. And as I also said that John Robertson is recording this webinar, and the idea would be that the recording will be available on our new website. For those of you who have not seen this or have not participated today, you can go and watch that video recording of today's webinar and cover both the brand and the website. Now let's start with the first thing here, which is an introduction to RAWCS. I believe that if I were to ask each one of you question as to what is RAWCS, potentially I could get a different answer from each one of you. And therefore, it's very important that the way we explain what RAWCS is, that is consistent. At least if we can't recite it exactly the way it is written, but at least we remember the main elements of it. That this organization, when it was established, why it was established, what it does, and how it creates value. So that's the initial part of that. And then one of the first things when we talk about brand that comes to our mind is logo. So the logo of RAWCS is this, as you can see on the screen. There's a change recently which was required by RI that we needed to bring. You can see that our brand tagline or the brand promise, as they say, is now called enabling global good. It's very important that we actually stick to this improved version of our logo. And this is not only improved, but also we have the approval from RI to continue using this one as well. However, while this is the main element of our logo, we do not use this alone. As you can see, there's always this lockup, as we refer to. You can see that there is the Rotary logo on the left and there's the RAWCS logo on the right. There's a separation with a line. And you can also see at the one above that there is kind of distances between the different sites. So therefore, we always make sure that we keep that type of like distancing rather than making it short because the elements of the brand would only work if you actually keep this. So this is the new approved logo, which we'll be using from today onwards. Any logo formats that you have been using before in your email signatures, on your documentation, or anything else will become irrelevant from now onwards, and this will be the one that we'll be using. So that is the main logo. Also, we have a logo for RARE. RARE is Rotary Australia Repurposing Equipment. And this is the new logo that we have chosen for this, which is approved. Dave Clark, I see you are there in the audience. We had to work with Dave and his team to make sure that this was something that they actually were happy with. So this becomes the new Rare logo. We did not actually have a logo for Rare before. So therefore, when we use Rare's logo, it always becomes at the far right of RAWCS's logo. And when I say RAWCS's logo, as you can see, it's always as part of that lockup. The lockup being on the far left, Rotary's logo, and then RAWCS's logo, and on the very right, you have Rare's logo. If you were to remove RAWCS in the middle and bring Rotary on the left and Rare on the right, that is a combination that's not approved by RI. RI told us very, very clearly that that is a combination that's not approved, and we should stay away from using that type of combination. Because RI recognizes RAWCS as an organization, as an MDO. It does not recognize as RARE or Medishare or ARAM as an MDO or as an approved entity to be operating as and showing its logo right next to that of the Rotary. So therefore, the actual lockup for Rare is this lockup that you see. You'll also be seeing this in the email signatures going forward. Now, some of you may have not heard of ARAM before. You may have heard of RAM before, but not ARAM. Again, this was a change that we were required to bring into the naming convention. It was suggested by RI. We had to abide by that. So previously, we were referring to this particular program of ours as Rotarians Against Malaria. Now they're called Australian Rotarians Against Malaria, ARAM. So the logo for ARAM is this, but again, like every other logo that we show here, this is not going to be used alone. There may be some usage for it by ARAM on their brochures and things like that from time to time, but usually this is not shown alone because this is not an entity in its own right. So therefore, just like the Rare logo, there's a lockup available for this, and the lockup is that we have RAWCS's logo. And by the way, when I refer to RAWCS's logo, I always refer to the lockup version, which is Rotary on the left, RAWCS on the right side, and then on the very right-hand side, you have Australian Rotarians Against Malaria. Again, as I said previously, if you were to remove RAWCS from the middle and put ARAM's logo right next to Rotary, that is a combination that's not approved by RI. And we want to make sure that we are not doing anything that would actually jeopardize the relationship with RI, and therefore we need to actually clearly stay away from using combinations that are not approved. Now we move to the third element, which is Medishare. Medishare had their logo before, so there was very little work that was to be done. And all we had to do is to actually make sure that Medishare is put on the very right-hand side of the Rotary RAWCS lockup. I have visited the Medishare facilities here in Sydney, in near Norwest, and I know that on their building they have the Rotary logo and the Medishare logo side by side, without RAWCS being there. And that is, as I said, a combination that's not approved. And with the passage of time, we'll work with all different programs to make sure that we are sticking to this new branding guidelines and remove anything that is inconsistent and actually contrary to the approval that we have received from RI. I'll be working with Keith and Janice on that. I don't know if they're available today, but those are the ones in there.
Have a good time.
Go on, please. Someone want to say something? No? Okay. As I said, my suggestion would be that if you have questions, please type them into the chat box. John Robertson is monitoring that chat box, and he'll raise them at appropriate intervals. So before I go ahead, let's stop here and address any questions that we have. And in the meantime, I'll also show you some other ways of how RAWCS's logo was previously misused and should not be misused. And hopefully that will clarify. John, can you please have a look at the questions, and I'll open the other quick slide that I wanted to show. Okay, so here, incorrect ones. Okay, seems like there are no questions. At least I don't hear that from John. But if there are questions, I'm sure that John will come back to us. Okay, I'm sharing this other screen now. Do you see my screen? Thumbs up if you do. Great, fantastic. Okay, so here are some logos that were inconsistently used before, and potentially some of them are being used today. So, but hopefully going forward from today onwards, that we do not use them. You can see that the first logo, although it looks very similar to the one that I was showing you, right? However, you can see that Australian districts is written very tiny under the rotary word, and this is not an approved version. It was never approved, even when we were using it. In our eyes, brand people had an issue with this. The second one was an approved version where you had the Australian district written with a long tail. That was the approved version, but we were not using it previously. But it actually becomes obsolete anyways from now onwards because that is not anymore the approved version. The new version is the one that I was showing you earlier. I have also strangely seen that some email signatures of the email that I've been receiving, people been using the globe logo of ROCKS, which is a very, very old logo, right? But people still use that, which really astonishes me. And if we keep using this type of like different logos and different styles and all that, we'll never be able to actually achieve the brand recognition that I was showing you earlier with the CBA, with Bunnings, with the other brands that we were seeing there. Of course, we'll never be in a position where we actually replicate those types of things wider in the public, but at least in the Rotary world with the Rotarians, we should be able to actually ask a Rotarian and show them some of our brand elements, and they should be able to actually say, yeah, this is ROCKS. So I'm not even talking about the wider Australian community. I'm talking about within the Rotary world in Australia. When people see our brand, they should be actually able to recognize ROCKS going forward. So these are the on the screen. What you are seeing is the inconsistent usage of our logo, which will become obsolete from today onwards. Similarly, on this other slide now, you see that some people actually become very creative with their logo usage. The one at the top actually has Royala, it has Romac, it has the Rotary Foundation, it has Rye Pen. I've never heard of that before. And then there's also ROCKS, the old version, as you can see in there, right? Then this other one, I was telling Belinda also that this one, which has a very tiny mosquito sitting on the globe. It looks like that if the mosquito was a real size, then it'd be a very big mosquito, right? So that also becomes obsolete from today onwards. And there are also these other versions where people are using shelter box and everything like that. Now, the reason I'm showing these to you is to actually highlight that there are so many incorrect usages of our brand before, our logo before, and from now onwards, I hope that these examples actually help you understand that this is incorrect usage of our brand and that we actually avoid that. I'll be speaking about um, how to develop your email signature and how to use the right logo and all that later on today. But I just wanted to give you an idea as to what is inconsistent in terms of brand usage. Brand, John, before I move forward, do we have any questions on there?
Yes, there's one from
Yep.
David Clark.
Yes. What's the question, John?
Is there going to be any money? Sorry, I've got feedback.
We can hear you clearly.
Okay. Is there going to be any money to facilitate the change in signage?
Yes. So we are going to be working with all of RAWCS's programs, be it RARE, ARAM, MediShare, to actually move away from the previous material that they have had and give them the new material. So yes, that is definitely part of the plan. I'll be working with Belinda, and Belinda will be working with you to actually supply all the new material to you. And again, I'll speak about the leaflets and all that once we get to that stage of the brand. But yes, there'll be money available for you to do that. I actually raised that with the board in the last board meeting, which was about 2 weeks ago or so. And the board was of the idea that rather than letting all the current materials kind of like finish and then we print the new materials, we should actually chuck away the existing material and get the new one and have a proper fresh start to this. And they understand that there are budget kind of like implications of doing that. So I'll come to that in a moment. Okay, now another example or another set of examples of misuses of RAWCS logo are shown here on the screen. These are not actually done right now, but it's just to give you an idea that these are the various types that people could actually misuse the logo, and we suggest that you do not. For example, in the first one, someone would have actually typed the Australian Rotary districts with a typing on top of the logo, or on the second one in the middle on the left, you see that the logo is actually flipped sideways. That's not an appropriate usage. Or in the third one, you see that RAWCS logo is on the right and Rotary's one is on the left. Um, is that how it is? No, RAWCS logo is on the left and Rotary is on the right, and that shouldn't be the case. And there are other examples as well. So please do not drag it sideways, because sometimes when you put the logo, people actually drag it sideways. I'll show you how to actually make it small or large, but do not kind of like pull it up or do this to it, because otherwise the elements of the brand actually do not appear properly. Okay, now we move forward to the color palettes. Again, one of the reasons why you were able to recognize the brands from CBA, from Bunnings, and from what were the other ones? ANZ. There was another one as well. Yeah, Woolies. One of the reasons why you were able to actually recognize those brands were because of their colors, right? So colors play a very, very important part in a brand look and feel. So for RAWCS, our colors are these, which is the blue, there's a yellow. These blue and yellow are Rotary colors anyways. I mean, we all know that. But for RAWCS, the current branding that we have that actually predates me includes a red one as well. So there's also that red, but there are these other colors as well. Now, what I wanted to do was today in this session to actually help you understand to how you can select exactly this color. Because I know that when you go to your computer, the same to select a blue, it could be 100 different types of blue, right? So therefore, it's very important that you use the right blue and the right yellow and the right red, rather than kind of like doing something that is not as part of the brand. So therefore, again, I'll share my screen. Just give me 1 second. I'll go here to this. Oops. Just give me 1 second. And John, if there are any questions, I think it's a good time to try to mention them now.
So, yes, there is a question from Val Bland. Can we take the logos off Google? And I can answer that, no. It's got to be taken off by whoever puts them on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So let's share my screen. Let's assume that we want to actually replicate this blue of ours and get this exact blue right. So what I would suggest is that if you look at this particular number, which says RGB, do you see the RGB on your screens, right? So for red, there's 15, for green, G83, and for black, it is 158. It's actually a code of a color, right? And I'll show you, some of you may have not used this before, so therefore I'll show you as to how that works. So let me remember it. It's R15, G83, and B what? 158. Okay. So we go to this screen here. Let's say we open just a Word document. I'm going here to share my screen of the Word document. It's just a blank Word document. Can you see my screen now? The Word document, it's just a blank page?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let me try to replicate that color here. So you, for example, insert here into the shapes. Let's go here and let's select this whole box, right? Now this is a blue, but it's not a blue, isn't it? So what you do is you select this, go to shape fill, and you go to more colors, because these colors, if you use, you see these different colors, they are all blue, but not the right blue for us. So you just go here to more fill colors, and the minute you go here, you see this thing. You may have seen it before, may have not used it, or may have used it. You see there's red, green, blue. So what was the red number that we had? 15. Well, let's put 15 here. What's the green number? 83. Let's put 83. And then what is the black? Sorry, the blue? 158. Yeah, here. You see, the minute you select that, this actually becomes the blue that we wanted, right? It is not different than the blue that I'm seeing. And when you print it also, it will always give you exactly the same result that you want, right? So therefore, it's very important that we select the right color. And the way to select that was this particular way, right? You go here into any color. You see these are different colors. In the colors, you just go into more colors. And there's standard, there's custom. In the custom, you can just write your code, and that becomes your exact color, right? Okay. Now, having done this, we'll be, by the way, coming back to this particular thing. Now, let me go and insert our logo here as well. So I'll go and insert a picture from this device. So let's insert a logo in here. My computer is taking a bit of time. Just give me a second, please. Okay. So we go here, this, insert. Okay. And then we bring this. Yeah. So you can see that this is our logo here. I've simply inserted it. Now, what I was showing earlier in terms of like, please use the right way of resizing the logo. For example, if this logo is too big for you and you want to make it small, rather than kind of like doing this to it and then also shortening it, all you need to do is select it from this top left corner or top right corner, you see, top left corner, and then bring it inward like this. It becomes smaller. See? It remains the same logo with the same sizes and becomes smaller. But instead, if you were to do this, look, let me do this to it. This is what it does to it, right? And that's not the right way of resizing it. Or for example, if you actually make it shortened, you see, this is what it happens. And this is not the right usage. So therefore, always just select it at the top left corner and then just drag your cursor toward the middle of it and it will become small, right? Very important that we actually keep this. Okay. Now, as you can see here, if we were to put this logo of ours on this type of color, it will actually not look good. So therefore, it's also very important that you use the right logo. Once we go to our website, I'll show you that we have different versions of the same logo, different colors. It's exactly the same logo, but different colors. So we have a white version of this, and therefore the white version would work really well on this type of blue background. But if we were to kind of like change the background, let's say this other gray that we use, which is 191.191.192. So let me change the color of this thing to that other color of ours, which is the approved color. And the code is 191.191, and this other one is 192. So you see, and then on this one, it looks actually good, isn't it? So on a gray background, it looks good. So let's make it, for example, let's go here and then, okay. Now let's assume that this is a document we're using. I'll make this the whole page because as I said, we'll be using this page to kind of like replicate what I'm trying to do. So this way, hopefully it, when you're actually using the different elements of the brand, then it can actually be easier for you. So you see, if you're using a gray background and you're putting our logo on it, it actually looks really good, right? You can put it on the top right, you can put it in the middle or in some other place, but this is how you should be using it. Now I'm stopping this and going back to the the actual presentation. Any new questions, John?
No.
Okay, great, fantastic. Let's move forward. Okay, so now I hope that you understand how to replicate these colors. There's a particular code, as I said, the RGB code, but there's also this other one code, which is exactly the same, whether HTML, some people call it hex. In the same place where I showed you, you can actually type this code also, 0F539E. If you type this one as well, it will give you exactly the same code. So depending on which type of computers you use, you may be using Pantone or CMYK or RGB or HTML. So these are the codes for the exact same color. Now, as I said earlier, if you were using that logo of ours on a blue background, it was not going to look good, right? So therefore, we have thought about all these situations and we have designed logos in different colors. So for example, the first one that you see at the top is just the normal logo, the color logo that you can put on a white background or you can put it on a gray background. But there are also other versions of our logo which are available on our website as well. I'll show you those. So you can actually download these depending on what type of colors you're using. So let's say you have a black banner that you're printing, but on the black banner, this particular color that we are using, they may not look good. So therefore, you may need all white logo. So that all white logo is available and you can actually download it from our new website. Similarly, the same is true for Rare. You can see now Rare is a logo lockup. The same is true for ARAM. You see the same thing for them. And similarly, if you go to this last one, which is MediShare, we have the same one for MediShare also. All of these are available on our new website, and later on, I'll show you where to go exactly to download these logos. And the reason we had to do this was because we know that you're a very diverse group of people. You may have diverse interests, right? Yeah, you may not like the normal blue that I like or the normal kind of like black that I like. So therefore, you may be using kind of like creatively different colors. So therefore, there are different colors you can use, but you please use these exact codes for the colors. And if you're using those different logos also, there's a lot of choice that you have in there. Now, that is with logos. Another element of any brand is what they call typography or fonts, as we call it in simple English. Um, Usually, organizations have their specific fonts. They're not using all sorts of fonts. They use very specific fonts and they use them all the time. And that's why it actually creates that consistent feeling about that brand. So you can actually recognize it later on. I did not go to lots of examples in the brand recognition part that I did initially, but I could have actually given you examples of just text without anything else. And I'm sure that many cases you would actually recognize that text also because of the fonts that those companies actually use. So therefore, it's very important that we use a structured way of fonts also. So to give you variety, we have chosen what we call two families of fonts. One is a primary fonts family, and there's a secondary fonts family. And the primary fonts family, it is Helvetica and Calibri that we are using. So this is Helvetica, as you can see on your screen, and here is Calibri. This is what you have. And then in the secondary family, we also have DIN, and we have Baskerville Mount Standard. So these are the four different fonts that you can use. Now, it's also important for you to know that, for example, Calibri and Helvetica Helvetica are the ones that are available on any computer. You do not need to download these fonts. They are not special fonts. They are available on any computer. But when it goes to the other ones, which is DIN, and also Baskerville, these are special fonts and they do not come with normal computers. You need to go and actually either download them from our website. They are available on our website, or you can actually download them from Google, and they are free fonts. They are not paid fonts. So let me now go and show to how we could use Calibri on that example that I was showing you earlier. And I know that this may be boring, but it's important so that we can actually have an example of how to replicate these things in actual life, so it becomes easier for you. But please bear with me while we go through this somewhat boring exercise. So this was our a word page, as you remember from the previous exercise that we did with our logo at the top there. Now let's kind of like add some text in here. Let's say this is a document that we are writing and we want to give it a title. So I'm just going there and inserting some text box. I mean, you don't need to insert a text box. So you can simply just start typing. But let's say we are inserting a text box here. And we are saying there's no fill in here and there's no outline also here. And the text that we are writing here is, so you go to home, you see right now, this is the font that's selected. So all you need to do is click on here and come to select Calibri. Now, let's say this is RAWCS brand manual. This is the font. You can see Calibri there. Let's make it bigger so you can see it properly. Let's make it bold, for example. Making it slightly smaller here. See, so this is what I was saying earlier, that if you use the font that the approved font of RAWCS, then you can actually create a document that can actually be recognized as RAWCS document. So this is what you have in here. You can change the colors, all those colors that you see there. Yeah. Right. So that is a way to select the fonts. Let's say you're not happy with this font, you want to change it to one of those other three fonts. The other one, for example, is DIN. This is DIN if you want to select that. I know that some of these things that I'm going through may be very simple and you may have been doing this for tens of years, but I know that there may be some people who may have not used this before, so therefore, please bear with the rest of us who have not used this before, right? So that's that. Now, moving back to that presentation of ours. Oops, not this one. Sometimes these computers do not respond as fast as they want it to be. Okay, so this is about the colors. Sorry, the font that we were talking about. Now we move forward to, and we covered colors also, by the way. So here is now the next element, which is icons. So for the sun areas of Rotary's focus, areas of focus, we have these particular fonts that icons that we have created. And later on, I'll show you these in on our website. So if you're using presentations, if you're developing presentations, all of these are material that's available for you to use, which would actually then give that consistent look and feel of our brand. Now, moving forward, for those of you who are associated with RAWCS in the capacity of like national program managers or with the warehouses and things like that. If you're using business cards, this is a structured business card design that we have now for all of us. So we're checking out all those previous business cards. And you can see on the back of the business card something that we have done newly that is a very sharp introduction to what RAWCS is. So what we are saying is established in 1966, RAWCS delivers humanitarian assistance through the vast Rotary network in Australia and partners overseas. This is something that we want to actually repeat again and again so that people actually understand who RAWCS is. Because I have asked this question of so many people in the past 1.5 or 2 years that I've been here, people who have been associated with RAWCS for tens of years, and everyone I ask gives me a different answer to what RAWCS is. So therefore, we needed that consistency message of our messaging to come up. We also have a new letterhead. For those of you who require the letterheads, you can actually ask Belinda to send you some of these if you require them. But I believe that the usage of that would be very limited to people who work either with our national programs or within the office. And then there are standard envelopes as well. We have standard design on our caps as well. We have also these new T-shirt designs. Again, on the back of those T-shirts, you can see that the same sentence is repeated again and again because we want to start get Rotarian to start recognizing who RAWCS is and when it was established and its significance. The fact that it's been around for quite a long time, nearly 60 years. We have actually donated and collated $500 million Australian dollars, and that we have provided overseas and in Australia to assist people in need. So that's kind of like quite a large sum of money to have gone into the work of RAWCS. This is the new design of our polo t-shirts, also the jumper designs and all that. It doesn't mean that we have all of these available now, but these are the consistent designing of our brand. And then we have name badges. We have a media wall. Now, we do not speak to media a lot, but this thing is called media wall. And I believe that once we print one of these, we'll at least have one of them. We could potentially take it with us to the Rotary district conferences and all that, where we'll have a booth. So we'll actually display this and get people to kind of like take photos with this and all that. But again, the idea is to promote RAWCS's brand. We have new pull-up banners for RAWCS. I know that I've traveled to some of the Rotary clubs, and every time I go to a Rotary club or to a RAWCS region, I see a different brand, and I have actually been making it a habit to take photos of those different ones myself on my phone. So I have a variety of photos that I've taken everywhere I've gone, and everyone is using a different one. It's very interesting that people are so creative. They come up with their own thing and they use it. But also, it's very interesting that if you're not doing it professionally, if you're not doing this is not part of your job, then at times people get kind of like really creative and they have this beautiful kind of like pull-up banner that they've designed, but they forget the fact that if they're using it in stands and all that, half of it or more than half of it is actually hidden because people stand in front of it, or it's a desk that they put before the pull-up banner. So the important information that they have put at the bottom of it, people actually do not see because they have not really thought of the different types of usages of these things, right? So therefore, when professions actually design it, they design it in a way that they actually keep the most important part at the very top, so people can read that important part at the very top. And other information, people can see them at the bottom, great. Otherwise, the most important information comes at the top. So this is the new pull-up banner design. Again, we'll be printing these and we'll be shipping them. I believe that for the 5 regions of RAWCS, we'll be sending at least one, and potentially there may be more also that may be needed. So please do put your request with Belinda. We'll collate all of those, and then we'll actually start getting them printed and then shipped out. Also, there is now a new certificate of achievement design. We have already started using these. The very first one of this was given to John Robertson for his great work on the website. You'll see the website in a moment. So we have already started using this. This is available on our website. You can download it, and please make use of this, because I believe that you Rotarians are putting lots of hours of your life into the work of RAWCS. And I believe that when you're doing great work, which is always the case, I believe it's a good idea to be recognized and appreciated for that. So please make use of these certificates. Whenever you see someone doing a great job, please make sure that that's given to them. If there are times when you need the chairman's signature, whether that's Dave or another chairman or my signature on these, please do reach out to us and be happy to supply that also. But we believe that you could also, those of you who are associated with RAWCS, you could use these without needing our signatures as well. Again, for the leaflets, we have now new leaflet designs for all the 4 different leaflets that we have. This particular one that you see on the screen is for Rotary Australia Compassionate Grants, RACG. There is one for each one of these other things, like there's one for RARE, there's one for ARAM, there's one for RAWCS. And I know that Bruce Anderson has provided us the new wording on the ARAM one. So we'll be actually making those edits, and then we'll send it for printing. And once we have the printouts available, then we'll ship them to you. So again, if you need these leaflets, please put your request with Belinda, and we'll get them printed to that number. And then we'll start shipping them as we did in the past. So those are the new leaflet designs. There's also consistency now in our social media banners. We are available on Facebook. We are available on YouTube. We are available on LinkedIn, and we are also available on X, what used to be called Twitter before. So if you are available on any of these platforms and you have not liked and subscribed our RAWCS channel, I strongly encourage you to do that. Once we go to the website section later on, there are particular links. You simply click on that, and it will take you to these particular pages of RAWCS social media. And I believe that Emma, when she starts speaking, which will be in a moment, she'll also encourage you to actually like and subscribe to these channels of ours. This is one way for you to get news about what is happening in the RAWCS world. So please follow RAWCS work on social media. Then, of course, there are other designs on mugs and pins and all these other things on our website. And then this is the section where we speak about the email signature. I'll pause here for John to mention any questions, and then I'll show to you to how you can replicate my email signature for your email signatures, particularly for those of you who are using RAWCS email. So I want to make this very specific. If you're using RAWCS email, it is actually a must for you to be using the standard logo. So for example, if you're using, I don't know, just to give an example, emma.bell@rawcs.org.au. So please make sure that you're using this email signature without any changes to it. I'll show you in a moment as to how you do that, but I'll stop here and give John Robertson the opportunity to see if there are any questions. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and we'll replicate the signature.
We've got 2 questions. The first one from Jan Pryor. On your business card, Australia World Community Service is written without capitals. Should it have capitals?
Yes. Yep. That is in capital. So the actual design that you receive will have the capitals there. Yes. What's the other question?
And will RARE cards have the RARE logo? Will RARE have cards as well, and T-shirts and logos on T-shirts?
Yes. At this stage, we have not envisaged that, but there's no reason why that can't be the case. But at this stage, we have not. The other thing is, because I'm always kind of like amazed at the about the size of this organization and the various activities that we run within the framework of RAWCS. I mean, there's RARE, there's ARAM, there are all these warehouses across Australia, there's Medishare and all that. I mean, if you actually start creating their own material for all of these, it'd be quite costly, but it does not mean that we should not do that. There's every opportunity to do that if there's need for it. Otherwise, I think if you're wearing RAWCS material, still you are part of the whole group of the organization. Did that answer the question? Okay, I'll proceed to the next part. Okay, I'll share my screen now. Okay, we are doing the email signatures now. Now, let's say if you're to kind of like simply want to do this email signature thing, I believe you're able to see my screen right now. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, good. So if you have received an email from me, if not, I'm sure you may have received an email from Belinda or from Pauline, from other colleagues. All you need to do is go to our email signature, copy the whole thing from where it says best regards, right? Again, this is how I kind of like express my thanks to people in the email. You may not like to say best regards. You may say kind regards or cheers or whatever, but let's copy this from here. And then depending on what Outlook you use, there's a new Outlook, which I'm using. There's a slightly older version of Outlook, which you may be using. If you're using the new Outlook, at the top right here, you see this settings button. This is where you go. And you go to signatures. I believe you are seeing my screen. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Sorry, it's taking a bit of time. Sometimes my computer becomes weak. So if you go to signatures, let's see whether it's actually able to show those other sections. Yeah, it is. Signatures is a section that it takes a bit of time. So what I was trying to say, that you go to this signature section, you simply paste my signature. It's not showing at this point in time, but I'm sure it will come back. But all I was saying was that you simply copy this and paste it in that signature section, which will look exactly like this. All you need to do is to change this section. For example, you write over it. So for example, I'm Belinda. I'm now making this change. So all I'm saying is that this is right. And then I'm changing my title to National Operations Manager, right? Then I'm changing my phone number. Let's say I'm not using the mobile number. I'm using 02, whatever it may be, 8833. I don't remember the number.
317.
Yeah, I'm just right. And then
Yep.
simply select this part and type over, right? And at this section, do not hit enter, because the minute you hit enter, it will actually activate the email signature and it looks really ugly. And then the remaining information could be the same, right? If you are in a different site and you have a different address, you can update that section as well. But the remaining things should be exactly the way it is right now. Again, the reason why it is important to keep it this way, there are multiple reasons for it. As I showed at the very beginning of today's webinar, if we do not keep this consistency, then people use all sorts of logos, all sorts of email signatures and all that, and all sorts of bold and colors and everything like that. I know that recently you and other colleagues are using some weird gray color that we were using before, but we are not using anymore. So please just copy this and update with your information, and that we will keep the consistency of our brand. Otherwise, there's no point in us doing all this exercise of spending like literally thousands of dollars on this brand refresh if we are actually not committing to use it consistently across the organization. And of course, as I said, you can just change this to whatever you might say, kind regards or whatever it is. But it is very important that the remaining part from here, from these two kind of like dots all the way down, actually remains the same. The other thing is that these links for Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and X. They're actually active links. And the minute you actually copy it exactly this way, then your email signature going out to people will have all these features embedded in it. Otherwise, if you don't do it this way, then it actually does not work and you need to recreate the whole thing. It actually takes, if you're recreating this whole thing from scratch, it actually takes a good 5 to 10 minutes to connect all these links to our Facebook page and LinkedIn page and all that. The other thing also is that when these email signatures are created, they're tested on mobile as well, because most of people would be receiving your emails on a mobile phone. So how they appear on a mobile screen is also another important element that we keep in consideration when we actually create these email signatures. So I'll have another attempt at trying to replicate it here. In the signatures, it's still loading in that thing. Sometimes it does this, but it should not.
If you just expand the email you have there, you'll get this signature section. So the little arrow, expand it to full screen.
An insert signature here. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
It should come up as a document, and you can go into the signature there, wherever it comes
signatures, up. Yep. It takes me back to the same place. So anyway, I actually, you get the idea, but I may, if it's needed, I think we can actually get John Robertson to actually share his screen, and he can actually go through this exercise with you. That's one thing. The other thing that is important is when you go to mail here, mail, and you actually go to compose in reply, I think it is. Here, this is where you actually make sure that you are selecting the right fonts also. As you can see here, I have selected Calibri, 12 and black, right? When I actually write the emails. Again, it's very important that when you're changing your email signature, it's not just changing the email signature, it's actually the stationery that you're using for the emails also. So please go ahead and change it to Calibri 12 black for writing emails and for reply and forwarding blue. I wonder if you are able to actually share your screen, John, so for colleagues to see. Again, as I said, these things may be very, very simple for lots of you, but for some of you, you may have not used it. So therefore, we are going through this boring exercise of actually showing to how this actually works. John, are you able to share your screen?
You want to share, what you want me to show the signature?
Yes, if you can go through this exercise that I wanted to do, which I could not replicate on my computer of email signature.
I can try.
Yes. Let me see. Okay, yeah, go ahead, you try it. Otherwise, I was trying to see if many people need it and we could do it. Otherwise, we would just skip and proceed.
Yeah. So, yeah, when you get an email, go to my account down here. If you're doing a new email, it's simple. The signature block is up here. And you just go to this one here, and that will show all your signatures.
Yeah, so, you see, this was what I wanted to show. Yeah. So here you simply paste that signature that you have copied from me, paste it here, and you update it, and then select it, and then it's good to go. It's that simple. Rather than you actually creating in different fonts and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Great. Fantastic. Thanks for that, John.
I'll stop sharing. Yeah.
Thanks, John. Okay. Now I'll share my screen again. Okay, we get to now this other section, which is the what they call it Zoom background. Does not necessarily need to be for Zoom. Right now, I think you can see that I have a background, the same as is shown on the screen. Is that right? Do you see my background here? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Again, it's personal preference for those of you who do not want to kind of like show what is actually there in the background. Sometimes people have family photos and all that, and they don't want people to see that, or whatever the case may be. You have some secret weapons on the wall, and you don't want people to see that. So therefore, you can actually use this particular design that we have come up with for RAWCS. You can download this from RAWCS's website, and I'll show you later on as to how you can download that. And once you download it, then you can actually start using it as part of your photos. So that is actually available for people to see as well. We have also last year updated our appreciation policy, and there are 3 levels of appreciation that we provide to various people. There's a project participant award, there's a RAWCS Humanitarian Service Award, and there's also a Distinguished Service Award. Different people, depending on the level of volunteering support that they provided to the cause of RAWCS, to advancing the cause of RAWCS, maybe receiving one of these badges. They don't look like this, what you see on the screen. They are like much more beautiful than this. But these are also available that are presented to people depending on that new policy that we have in place. So we'll be making use of that, and these will be badges that you can wear, just like other Rotary badges that are there. But again, the actual one that you receive will not look like this. It will be actually printed on a different kind of like material, and will be much more elegant than what you see on the screen there. We also have another thing that was coming to us was a PowerPoint template. We did not have a consistent PowerPoint template. We have developed a new one, which is available on our website. And again, we'll show you where to download that. So we suggest that you actually make use of that consistent template that we'll be using. And this is the part where I actually stop and invite a new colleague, not very new now, about a year in the role, nearly a year in the role, Emma Bell. Emma is a great Rotarian. She's been involved with the Rotary for about 10 years or so. She actually lives in Canberra, and she's a volunteer communication specialist for RAWCS. She'll speak about how, for those of you who are involved with projects in the field, how you can take good quality images and videos, and why do we need these videos and images. And then after that, I'll invite Belinda to speak about the importance of these images and videos in the context of RAWCS's projects. So I'll now stop here, and I'll get Belinda to, Emma to start sharing her screen. Emma, are you still there?
Hi, Mahir. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction to Mahir. So there is really great guides on pictures and videos. So I've just put together a quick slideshow to highlight some of the key points. So just one moment while I share screen. All right, can you all see that? Could someone speak, because I can't see you?
Yes.
Yep, wonderful, thank you. All right, so how to take effective photos and videos for RAWCS.
Emma, while we see your screen, I don't think it's the right screen that we are looking at, because it actually shows your calendar.
Oh, well, you don't need that.
No, we don't need that.
All right, let me see. Oh, can you see my desktop?
Not yet. It's not showing us yet.
Can you see yourselves?
Yes.
We can see ourselves, yes.
Okay, can you see PowerPoint?
Not yet. No, it's not sharing us yet.
Ah.
Yeah. Have a go. If not, as I said, I can actually share it from my screen.
Let me see again. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hang on, let me try this one. How about that one?
No.
We're seeing ourselves.
Oh, this is strange. Okay, I can't pick up my PowerPoint for some reason.
Okay,
Here.
I'll actually start sharing, and you can speak to it.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem. There we go.
All right. If you could full screen that one, please, Mahir.
Yeah, I am doing that as we speak.
Perfect. All right. Next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we want to really highlight the purpose and tell a story in our images, and that really supports the posts that we can make, any items we can send through to RDU, and you can use these in your clubs and districts as well. So we want to capture the moments that highlight the impact. So people in action, we are people of action, so engaging with communities. We want to showcase before and after shots to illustrate change and progress. So try and get in and get a picture of the space before you started building the new school or whatever it might be. Keep the focus on people, not just objects or landscapes. That's a way that people can really engage with the content and really feel a connection to the people and the project. Consider adding brief descriptions or captions to images to provide context. So this one's really important when you're sharing posts, when you're posting a picture without a photo, it will probably have less engagement. But when you're posting a photo without a caption, people don't really know what's going on. So it's really important to try and do both where you can. Is there any questions on this first slide?
No.
Feel free to pop them in the chat if you think of anything. Next slide, Mahir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm on next slide already.
Composition and framing. So use the rule of thirds. So if you imagine the image is divided into 9 equal parts by 2 horizontal, 2 vertical lines, you can position the subjects at the intersections of these lines. So rather than having them smack bang in the middle, you kind of off center them and use those lines. Sometimes that's a setting in a camera or a phone. You can open up that setting, or if you just have a general go at that, it just creates a bit more of a picture with more engagement. It's you know, the psychology behind it, but it's more appealing. The frame subjects naturally, so using doorways, windows, and trees to add depth and draw the viewer's eye towards the subject. So it's similar to the rule of thirds. It just gives the image a bit more depth and makes it a bit more interesting. Avoid clutter, so ensure a clean background that enhances the subject and prevents distractions. So think about what's going on in the background. You can slightly move yourself to get a slightly better image than you would have if you just stood where there's, you know, a bunch of people in the background having a conversation. And when taking group shots, ensure everyone is visible and well lit by positioning them in even lighting and avoiding backlighting. So if you were to take a photo under a umbrella, or, you know, I've seen a picture recently actually with like at a barbecue, and half the faces were in the sun and half of them were in the shade. So I would suggest pick one, either get everyone in the shade and position it nicely that way, or get them in the sun, but just be wary that that bright sun can make people sort of squint or really wash them out because it's too bright. So just have a play with that if you can. Thank you, Mahir.
Thank you very much for that.
Oh,
Emma?
there's more. There's more.
Oh,
Mahir.
sorry.
Next slide.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought that there were more, but when you said
There
thank
is.
you, I thought you mean it's finished. Okay. Lighting and clarity, sorry.
Yeah, thanks for here. So clean the phone camera lens. That's a one we often all forget. I do the same, but give it a quick wipe down with your top or whatever works. Remove fingerprints or dust for clearer images. Natural light is best. Avoid harsh midday sunlight, like I just mentioned. So yeah, try and get in the shadows, or on a, you know, days where it's a bit overcast, that's the best days to take photos outside. If indoors, use soft light sources, soft light light sources or face subjects towards windows to get even lighting. So that's really important. If you're taking a photo of people, try not to position them in front of a open window. It really washes out the people and their features. If anything, move them around, have them facing the window, and you stand in front of the window. Keep the camera steady, so you can use a tripod or just use two hands. And if you're using a smartphone, tap the screen. So this will support the focus and exposure, and it will support, a better lit image. It's also good to tap on the background. On a sunny day, tap on the sky, and that will sort of reset the colors. Next slide, thank you. I'm here. I can provide the tips maybe in an email, or we can use the branding on this slide and pop them on the website, something like that. Authenticity and emotion. Capture genuine interaction, smiles, teamwork, and community spirit. But candid shots are also tell a really strong story. So have a good mix of both. Encourage subjects to be themselves, let emotions shine through to create compelling visuals, and consider capturing volunteers in action to highlight their contributions and the impact of their work. Next slide, thanks, Mahir. So for videos, keep them short and engaging. The shorter the better if you can, and this will maintain viewer attention. It's also better on the algorithms on social media if that's what you're using it for. Ensure good audio, use a microphone if possible, or film in a quiet space to avoid background noise. Add captions for accessibility and clarity, making the content more inclusive for all audiences. And most platforms will allow you to add this onto a video these days too, so that's helpful. And avoid fast camera movements to ensure a smoother viewing experience and prevent motion blurring. Thank you, Mahir. So ethics and permissions. So it's always get consent from individuals before taking and sharing photos, especially in sensitive situations. And I know for me, if I'm receiving an image, I'd be very grateful that we actually have consent to use it, so we don't have to sort of backtrack or throw it out. So that's really, really important. If photographing children, ensure parents or guardians approve and that the images align with ethical guidelines. So we can provide more support on that if you need at a later date. Respect cultural sensitivities, be mindful of how people are represented and ensure images convey dignity and respect. And use easy to read text overlays to provide additional context when needed, especially for audiences unfamiliar with the project. And there's one more slide. File management and sharing. If this is helpful, try and save images in high resolution to ensure clarity and quality. Name files clearly for easy identification and organization. Share via RAWCS approved platforms to maintain security and accessibility. And consider organizing photos into albums or categories for each retrieval and future use in reports, social media, or presentations. So if you're not around in your role anymore, that way people can sort of come back to things, use them again, understand the context. And if you need more support on that, please reach out to me and the team. Thanks, Mahir.
Thank you very much, Emma, for that. We'll now go to Belinda. But before I do that, I just wanted to emphasize that in the brand book that I was showing you, which is available on our website, these things that Emma kindly mentioned are actually available in there as well. So there is actually information. For example, we understand that some of you may actually be using Android phones, or some of you may be using Apple iOS phones. So there's information available as to what you do on an Android phone, what you do on iOS phone, how do you take photos, these things that Emma was just talking about. These are actually shown visually in the brand guide, but similarly for videography as well, these things that Emma kindly spoke about are also available in written in here as well. So it's very important that you actually are aware that this information is actually available as part of our brand book, and you can refer to it anytime, particularly for those of you who may have not been taking lots of photos or videos previously. And now we'll go to Belinda to speak about why do we need these photos and videos. And Belinda, I suggest also that you also touch upon the fact that we actually use these for social media also, and we want to create more and more presence there.
Yep. Is there any question? Oh.
Go on, go on.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, okay, go on, please.
Thank you, Emma. That was excellent. Was there any questions regarding? Everybody's right. Okay,
No,
so all I just want to touch on briefly is I use a lot of photos from the gallery for you'll see that you would have seen the front page of the last annual report, which the two little guys on there with the water pump. Fantastic photo. So I reached out to one of the project managers to obtain that photo. I can't remember where I saw it. I think I'd seen it on, those one pages that I asked for. I'd seen it on that fantastic photo. They're the sort of photos that I need to capture images for the annual report. When we might need photos for brochures or pull up banners. So everybody knows how to log into their projects on the database where you complete your 6 monthly audit reports. You've got to log in with your email address and your password. There's a place in there near where you do your audit reports called Gallery. That is where you upload any photos. But please take note of what Emma said and we want really good quality high-res images, good action shots. That is where I choose photos for the annual report and anything else, as well as anything that goes into Rotary Down Under. Now, of course, we've also got to have permission to use those photos. But in the gallery, I know what project they belong to. Sometimes there's a caption maybe with the photo. But besides, you can always email me any photos as well. Like if you see a really good photo that you've got that would be suitable for the annual report, I'll keep it on file and I can just put it into a folder and use it that way. Also with you can also log into has anybody been into crowdfunding? You can log into the crowdfunding to upload photos and videos. You also need your password, your email address and your password to do that. You just click on the there's a plus sign when you go into the gallery. You click on there and you upload any videos and images. Now, with your online audit reports, don't put photos on your online audit reports because they don't go anywhere. You've just got to upload them to the gallery where you do your audit reports next to that. Don't put it in your audit report itself because the photos they don't go anywhere. They just stay within the audit report. They're not accessible by anybody else. Anyway, I'll always be available. If anyone's got any issues, I will walk you through the process. So just give me a call or email and I'll give you a call and I'll walk you through how you upload images and videos and that sort of thing. And yeah, that's just about it. Don't hesitate to reach out if you've got any questions or concerns.
Thanks, Belinda. I'm reopening my speaker and mic. I think it's important to highlight also that if we're getting photos and videos from you, particularly short videos, 30 seconds or so, then we are actually able to post them on our social media as well. I was yesterday speaking with RDU about the fact that we have at any given point in time approximately 450 projects. As we speak right now, we have about 450 projects. Within these 450 projects, each one of them is doing great work. And we need to be actually able to showcase that great work. And one way to showcase that great work is through photos and through short videos. I have been involved with other organizations where we were just working on one project. The whole organization was just working on one project, on one cause. Here we have 450 of them. So the more photos and videos that we receive, the more short stories that we receive, the success stories that we receive, the more we can be active on our social media, on our Facebook, on our LinkedIn, on our X account, and other places to tell the world that this is the type of great work that's happening. Because the more we tell people about our work, the more support we'll be getting, and the bigger impact that it will have on all of those projects. So please do share photos and videos with us, and please do go to the brand guide to understand how you can actually put those photos and videos together. Now, I have a few other quick slides to go through, and then we'll go through the website quickly, and hopefully keep it within that timeline of 1.5 hours. The other part of this brand document, which is the last part, is the tone of voice. As I said earlier, the term tone of voice comes from consistent usage of language. When organizations, when brands use consistent language, the consistent kind of like emotion that are included in that language, that in itself is actually part of a brand. For example, if you think of Nike, right? The next thing that comes to your mind is just do it, right? Or with Adidas or with other brands. It's just like that, that they're using consistent language, and there's a particular way that they use that language. And the one that we have come up with as part of a very deep exercise that we did last year were these 8 sections. That our language need to be empowering, it needs to be professional, it needs to actually show the collaborative nature of Rotary, it needs to be inclusive. We are working across the world in 45 countries. We need to be actually very aware of that. Of course, we are compassionate, and that needs to come across in our language. We need to also inspire and be trustworthy and optimistic. And the usage of this is some of the examples are given here. For example, on website content, you can say things like a joiner making tangible difference. Your support empowers communities and transform lives, or in fundraising campaigns or annual reports and all that. So I'll actually then let you read these each one of these, because it actually explains what we mean by that. For example, in terms of empowering, we are saying that language that motivates and encourages action. Example is together we can create lasting change and uplift communities. So this is kind of like a quick cheat sheet of the type of language that you should be using when you're communicating, whether those communications are in the form of written emails, or you're collaborating with other partners in the field or with other organizations. So please go through those and make use of that. So that brings us to the end of the brand book. Again, the brand book is available on our website. I'll show you in a moment. And now we'll go to showcase our website. Before I do that, another thing I wanted to highlight was I had a detailed discussion with RDU yesterday, particularly with Gay Kiddle, who is the general manager for RDU. And one thing that I have expressed to her, and then later on to other colleagues, and particularly to our executives, that when I came on board about a year and a half ago, and I read the RDU magazine every month, I saw that there were many stories in each one of those issues every month. There were at least 3 or 4 stories about RAWCS's work in the RDU magazine every month at that time. That is a year and a half or 2 years ago. And then with the passage of time, I've seen that there's a drop in the mention of RAWCS in the RDU magazine, and the mention of RAWCS's projects in that magazine. And the main reason for that is that we, as the organization, the projects, we are not providing those stories to RDU, and therefore they don't get mentioned. To the extent that, as I said, recently I've not been seeing any mention of RAWCS at all. While we have actually 450 projects that are out there, we have all this great work that happens with RARE and with Medishare and all that. There are fantastic stories that you see on daily basis. So please write to us, write to Belinda or directly to RDU or to myself and give us a short story of success story. For example, in case of John Paskin, I'm just using an example, right? You have just sent, for example, a container last week to Papua New Guinea. Again, I'm making this up, right? And the contents of that container are going to actually assist a community of 1,000 people in X part of Papua New Guinea. And you have some photo to share with us. And the contents of that are medical equipment or something like that. Tell us about that so we can actually share it on our own social media. Emma's job is actually, one of her job is to actually make sure that we are really active on our social media channels, but we can also then share it with RDU for them to be actually showcasing our work. So I make that call out and request you all, if you're involved with projects or other aspects of RAWCS work, and you see success stories, please do let us know. There are things that we hear from time to time. For example, I think it was you, Luis, about a month or two ago when you said that some of your colleagues in the Western region were recognized by the Thailand King with highest awards or something like that. We actually had to mention that to Emma so she can actually put it on social media so we can jointly celebrate that success of our Rotarians. It actually gives them encouragement, but it also gives other people encouragement as well. So I call on you to please make sure that you are telling us about the successes that you're having in the field. Now we'll go to the website, and although we are left with 2 minutes, I'll make it quick. I don't think it'll be as quick as 2 minutes, but I'll try to make sure that we have a quick look at the website, and then we leave it to you to have a good look at your own leisure. Okay, so this is our new website. Again, it's exactly the same address as before. So the address does not change, of course, with the renewal of the website. When you go there, you see that now the website is actually in a contemporary form. Again, there's a very sharp language about introduction to RAWCS, founded in 1966, blah, 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 $500 million. We work in 45 countries. There are 450 projects. Remember, I showed you earlier those icons from our brand book about those 7 causes of Rotary. Those are, as you can see here, used in a nice way. You can click on any one of these causes and take you to that particular section. Information about our projects. We have made $500 million worth of aid possible in the past 58 years of our existence. In the past 10 years, we have sent more than 600,000 volunteers to work on RAWCS projects. And you can read more about various projects that get kind of like displayed here. This section keeps changing every few seconds. And then, of course, there's information about RAWCS in the media that is seen here. And when you go to the footer, this is actually very important section. For example, when you go to documents and you click on the annual reports section, it actually takes you to the annual reports. And on the far left at the top, you can see that latest annual report of 2023 and 2024, the photo that Belinda was referring to. See those 2 little boys? And it's funny to how their shirt, the yellow shirt and the blue shorts actually are on brand. We did not ask them to be on brand, but it just so happened that they actually are on brand of RAWCS or Rotary's brand. So you can see all of those things there. So that's one quick example of where you can go and look for the various information. You can also, again, in the footer, see our constitution, our strategic plan. Then in the policies section, you can see all policies in there, and that is in there. Now, another major change that we have brought to this new website is that you can see at the top right here, next to the donate button, there's a thing called Rotarian Center. There's a button. When you click on the Rotarian Center, what we have done here is any information that was previously available on our website in all different parts of website that were related to Rotarians or to Rotary projects or to registering a volunteer team or the guides on how to operate a project and all that, which only related to Rotarians, not to the general public, we actually have brought and put it into here, into the Rotarian Center. So this way, any one of you who already have an existing relationship with RAWCS, you can actually just go to the Rotarian Center and see anything and everything related to your projects and volunteers all in one place, rather than going to the general website. Because I believe that the general website, which I'm showing you now, this should give information to the wider public in Australia. When they go to our website, they should actually be able to see who we are as an organization and what we do. And when you go to the Rotarian Center, then that's where you actually have the information that's particular to Rotarians. You may be used to previously logging in on the main page, but that login is here now. Log into Project Directory Volunteers website and register a RAWCS container. When you click on that, all the logins are here now. So you see on the screen, these are the different logins that are there. Again, you go to the Rotarian Center and you click on this button, log into Project Directory, blah, blah, blah. All the operational guidelines and templates related to projects and volunteers, you click on that and that's all in here. Now, this is different than the footer, which is the company policies. So you see when you click on the company policies, all these other things like privacy policies for public to see. It's not just for the Rotarian Center or the whistleblower policy or the environmental stewardship policy. So that is in the footer, but related to projects is only in here in the operational guides. They both look the same, but they're two different sections in two different documents. So that's there. Also, the brand document that I was showing you, if you click on the brand guide here, the minute you click on it, all the brand guide that I was showing you, you can see here. So you can download it for yourself, or you can continuously come and visit back and see that what we were talking about in here. So that's there. The logo that we were talking about earlier, if you want to download the logo and use the right logo, the fresh logo, they're all in here. For ARAM, for RARE, for MediShare, RAWCS' own logo are here. So you see the different colors, the white one, the colorful one, the black one, the yellow one, all of these. And the fonts are here as well. And the certificate, sorry?
The certificates Val was asking about.
Yeah, the certificate is also here. So you see when you click on the Word version of the certificate, it actually gets downloaded and you can then start using it. And the virtual Teams background, the one that I'm sharing right now on my background here. So that is in here. You see the RAWCS virtual meeting background. You click on the JPG and that's where it is. And you can download it and you can use it. So all of these things are available in the Rotarian Center. And of course, the contact details of all of us are available here. This particular webinar, which is being recorded, will be available in the updates and announcements section here. So you can go in and watch this webinar again. But my suggestion would be that rather than us telling you as to what is in the new website, I strongly recommend that you go and click on different sections of the website and explore it for yourself. I particularly like this section where you go to About Us and you click on our story. And this tells you the story of how it came about, right? Who were the very first person which came up with this idea of RAWCS, which initially was FAME, Fourth Avenue in Motion, when that happened and how it happened and all that. It's really interesting to read the story of RAWCS as to how it came about as an organization. So I would encourage you to go ahead and explore the website. And before I go, I wanted to also highlight the fact that on our new website, when you click on the donate button, one thing that we have done here was that we wanted to improve the donor experience. Previously, you were supposed to type the address and write all the sections, but now when you start typing the address, it actually automatically populates. So for example, I live at this address, 15 Lee Street in Maryland. You see, the minute I start writing that, it actually automatically populates this. So this way, we wanted to make sure that the donor experience is a great experience on our website when they give donation, and it's a quick one. Because last thing I want to do as a donor is to go to a website and want to donate and then spend 5 minutes making a donation. That's not the type of experience I want to have as a donor. So therefore, we have actually brought a lot of improvement into our donor experience. You just go there, and we have actually reduced the number of questions we ask also. So you go there, select what type of donation you are making, select which product you are, or which project you are supporting. You put the address, you start typing, and it will auto populate, select that, and boom, there you go. And that is actually done. I would like to close by saying that, in our new logo, sorry, the new tagline and the logo is that we enable global good, right? Now, it's actually a brand promise that we are making to the public. Where it's a brand promise that we are making to the retainers. It's a brand promise that we are making to partners. We all need to actually live that. We all need to actually make sure that we are actually enabling global good in the work that we do, that we are actually making it easy for donors to donate to it, that we are making it easy for projects to take place. We are making it easy for you, the retainer, to actually deliver the work. So therefore, that's very important. And I don't know if you have heard the story. About 30 or 35 years ago, Pepsi had this brand promise that said that if you drink Pepsi, it gives you wings, right? It gives you like wings to fly. And because that's a brand promise, there were some people in the United States who were suing Pepsi because they were saying, "Well, I drank Pepsi, but it didn't give me wings. So give me like a plane or something, so I can actually fly." Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is that if we are saying that we are enabling global good, we actually need to live to that promise of our brand, that we are actually enabling this global good, right? Otherwise, people will come and sue us and want the wings from us, right? In that real world example. So the importance of brand is really, really paramount. I can't mention enough that when we are saying that this is our brand, that we need to actually live through to the promise of the brand, and we need to actually do our part in showing a consistent image of our brand rather than creating our own logos or our own email signatures and things like that. With that, I thank you for participating. I know that it is now nearly 100 minutes, 99 minutes to be exact, that you've been with us. I immensely thank you for the time and attention that you have given us. But this also comes with the promise that there is no 90 minutes next week. So therefore, you're done with the next 90 minutes also. Of course, we'll have 2 additional webinars later on. One, I think, in mid-February and one in late February, if I remember. But those are for different purposes. Unless there are any questions that, John, you have listed there, we'll just close for the day, and then we'll proceed. John?
Yeah, no, there's no questions really. There was one, can we link to the website to club sites? Of course they can. We'd encourage that. And yeah, she wanted to know how many, but that would be unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll stop
Okay.
recording now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And you have a lovely day, whether it's a morning in where you are or afternoon. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.